and see.
Feel them settle around you?
I felt them. Felt them come on. We got listen. We got glares already. Little light beams want to come on through here. All right. I don't know if this Wi-Fi situation or data or whatever is gonna hold up, but we gonna see. This thing always like to burn out my battery, but we gonna see.
Mark the menu out anyway. I'm about to bring it to go box out. Unfortunately, we don't have anyone here to do a flaming coffee. But when it comes to hot drinks, I know we have hot tea. I'll give you a French press. Need some hot water if you like that. I think that's about it.
I think I'll hold off.
Yeah, I think I'll hold off on that there.
All right. Hot drinks. You still want that menu? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Do y'all have like a lemon tart or something?
We don't have a lemon, but a Linzer tart, which is like a, sort of a raspberry pie. Well, we might have a lemon tart. Might have like a mini one.
Yeah, that works.
I can go check for you.
That works. Thank you. All right. So, are we getting our lemon tart together? You know, angels like lemon tarts.
Yeah, they do.
Is that true? I was just making that up. I don't know.
Like, not lemon enemas. They like lemon.
They like lemons?
Some of them do.
I didn't know
like
that.
lemon oil, lemongrass.
Interesting. So I'm here at an undisclosed location, right? You always got to put undisclosed. Like, people start rolling up on you. Hey, doc, I don't know you. Rotate it. There we go. We're okay. We're good. That might have been an earthquake.
You looking for something lemon related?
I'm just done.
All right.
That's what that means. That means bring on out the check because they don't have the coffee. They don't have my key lime pie. They don't have. All right, we're just gonna take the check.
Would you like one check? You do one check or
2 checks?
2 checks.
Yes.
All right.
I didn't have nothing we came in here for. But that's that. Anyway, so y'all let me know if y'all are on here. I see there's some people watching, but I don't get any comments here. You know, it's hard to tell with connectivity and all that. If y'all can hear us, see us, if it's grainy or whatever, let us know. We want to answer some questions on. Hello, that's Blue Phoenix. That's somebody new, I think. I don't think I've seen them on my lives before. But we're here with the angelic.
That's right.
the celestial specialist. Okay. We're out here with.
I call them in.
You call them in. That's about after that. You don't know what to do. They on their own.
Check, sir. I'll go ahead and stick that right here.
All right.
Here's your check. I'm gonna take that menu from you. You may take that plate too. Sure. All right. You want to refill on the water or anything? To go water cup anything?
Yes. Refill, please.
I'm good.
So I'll just bring you a to-go cup, okay?
Sure.
All right.
So we wanted to take a minute since we had some quiet time and answer the questions on. Let me start off by asking you, Justin. Where or when did you start working with angels, and how did your angel relationship start? What's going on, brother?
I read a book.
Mm-hmm.
We will not discuss the author of the book.
Okay, we won't do that.
But I read.
We don't discuss book authors.
Not usually.
Right.
You know.
Exactly.
But I started using angels off of that because it was said that if you call them, they'll come. So I started feeling that energy. And
how long ago was that?
The Commission for the Blind. Must have been 10 years ago, 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it might have been 9 years ago, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started using them, calling on them, doing that kind of stuff.
Take that from you. There you go.
Thank you. And then I just started doing research on them. And I must have looked at hundreds of web pages and read a lot of different books.
You definitely are research. That's one thing I can tell you about Justin. Justin is going to research. I mean,
yes.
he just devours information. He's like Galactus. He just consumes it. Just consumes it. So let me ask you this question: just to kind of crack open the conversation, to kind of break the ice here, what would you say? What is one fascinating piece of information about angels that most people don't know?
The fascinating thing that I found is you can do the research, but you have to actually discover what angel wants, what they want to do with you. So sometimes an angel or an archangel, that's what I usually work with.
Mm-hmm.
They will not do certain things for you. Like they won't, for example, Raphael would not heal me.
Mm-hmm.
Just wouldn't do it. Didn't matter what I did.
And healing
He
angel.
just healing it. He just wouldn't do it. And there it didn't matter. And I'm like, well, what do you do? And finally, I help you with scheduling your day and traveling, making sure that little parts go okay.
Because he also is an angel of travel, right?
And even schedules and stuff like that. But he was not healed me. That he just wouldn't do it. He would ship me over to Jesus, the Christ, or he would ship me over sometimes to Michael, or
They just reschedule you.
yeah, but he would not do it himself. He just wouldn't do it. They were just kind of very strange.
What would you say if someone was interested in working with? Now that way they can hear us a little better. If someone's interested in working with angels, well, let me start by saying that, because I think a lot of times we say stuff, we use phraseology and we assume people know what we mean by that phrase. So if I throw the phrase out at you, working with angels, in quote, what does that mean? What does it mean to work with angels?
The first thing, meditation and maybe calling your guardian angels first.
Okay, so let's start there, because I'm a very like granular person, and I want to make sure that whatever we give out, that is on a level that's practical to people. So when we say, there's so many different views and ideas and opinions about what meditation is. So when you say meditation, can you break that down?
Deep breathing, in and out. One thing I do, and when I'm in meditation is, you're going to deep breathe in, out, those kinds of things. I keep my tongue a lot of times on the roof of my mouth because it actually aligns your organs and your chi. And so that's one little trick I use.
So you use deep breathing techniques as your meditation.
Is my base, yes. And then I might call on energy.
Hey.
I might ask the angels to give me an energetic representation, or I might ask for.
Wait. What is that? See, we have to make sure we have people in here who are very different levels of skill and proficiency. So when we say certain things, we have to make sure that we break that down.
One thing I would actually do is I will say, let's just say, I'll just do it like this: guardian angels, are you here? Can you give me a sign that you're here? Let's start even that basic. Let's do that.
Okay.
So, guardian angels, can you give me a sign that you're here? Can you give me something to tell me you're here? And they'll let you feel or see or sense or hear. You might feel something tap you or touch you or something like that. And that's when you start, that's kind of when you first start getting introduced to, let me know you guys are here. You'll feel a touch, or you'll see something, or you'll feel something. You might even smell something,
It'll be something in the senses.
Something in the senses will tell you.
Okay. Because they've entered now your sensory matrix, per se.
Like I just felt them do that.
Okay.
When I did that again.
Okay.
So it's that kind of thing. You'll get that. So that's before we won't even go into the energy representation. Let's just stick right there.
Okay.
That would be one of the first things I would tell you to do. Is in that situation you would just breathe, take a deep breath. You might even take 3 breaths. You then breathe out all your anxiety, your fear. You ground yourself, and then you open up to all your guardian angels and ask them to.
All right. So we're talking about working with angels, and we're like breaking this down on a granular level.
Yep.
So the first thing you talked about was meditation. Now you're talking about calling in guardian angels.
Right.
Break that down for us. What does that mean?
So when you do your meditation, because you're working with them. So when you're going to meditate, to work with them, you start out with your deep breathing, and then you just call them in. You can do it silently. You can do it out loud. You can ask them to appear when you ring a bell. You can any way you want. I just call them in silently or out loud, and then you just sit with them and let them just get used to their energy.
Now, Blue Phoenix asked a question. Blue Phoenix says, I will feel a light brushing on my arm or smell vanilla or citrus. Is that a sign of them?
Yes,
Okay.
it could be if you've called them in. So yes, that is one way they could definitely contact you if you've called them in or asked for help. Yes.
Let me ask you this question, just kind of extrapolating further off of the question they asked. They mentioned about the smells, vanilla and citrus. Is it how can I?
Those are two big ones for archangels and for angels.
Can I say, or would it be safe to assume that the scent that you smell in their presence is a scent that they prefer? In other words, so for example, with Blue Phoenix, could it be that they have an angel that prefers vanilla or an angel that prefers citrus scents?
It could be. I don't normally smell things with
Okay.
mine,
Okay.
so I don't want to completely tell you yes, but that could definitely be. I would try that. Like they do like sweet and fruit stuff. I can tell you that for sure. They love sweet herbs and fruit and fruity type herbs.
And we have a question that says, "Now, I don't actually call them in; it would just happen, and I never knew why."
See that? Then that might not be them. That could be ancestors. That could be other stuff.
Now, see that I'm glad you bring this up because this goes into, parts of the training that I do with you guys is about spiritology and about discerning different types of spirits. And so what you just said was incredible, is that your ancestral spirits, angels, etc., are not the same.
Not the same.
And I
Oh,
think
no.
I think one of the eras of the quote unquote new age is kind of lumping everything together. It's almost like everything's called a spiritual guide now, and so you don't have a way to discern the nuance or the idiosyncrasies of an entity or spirit coming forth, and because of that, you can't produce replicable results.
No. You need to be able to compartmentalize them to, at least you need to be able to call them in separately. I'm not going to say you're going to always know what spirit was around you.
Right.
That's tough. I mean, that's not impossible.
But I think
you'd
just
spend a lot of your time if you did that. But you want to call them in. So this vanilla or citrusy could be, I'm just going to go with it. Could be an ancestor.
Could be ancestor.
Could be an angel. It could be another deity.
it could be a lot of things,
It
but
could be a lot
but I
of
think at the
things.
base of what we're saying is that just because you have that sensory experience does not mean it always means this.
Right.
If anything, it means further exploration is needed into really your spiritual core. And I want to come into that topic in a second, but I also want to pull this up. Nina says, "Hey, hello, Doc. Love this topic." We have Magi Kansu says, "Can angels take on physical human birth?"
Wait, birth?
I'm gonna let you answer, then I'm gonna give an answer.
Common traditional answer is no,
Okay.
except Elijah and Enoch, human, and became angels.
Now they're Metatron and Sandalphon.
Now they're Metatron and Sandalphon, with Enoch being Metatron and Elijah being Sandalphon.
Now I would say that's a great question because it's a very loaded question.
Yes, that's why I went there.
So there is. Let me say this. Okay, the reason in the caption of this video, angels in quotation, is because, as you know, I don't speak about angels quote unquote as such, right? Because angel has just become kind of the tag word for every type of celestial entity that man knows. And of course, you've been in my class, so you know better. I know better that there's a great variety of celestial species. Yeah, we're all good, thank you. And so one of them, well, let me say this: angel is a description. It's like an office. Okay, it is not identifying a particular species of celestial being. So to the question they brought up, can angels take on physical human birth? You have a celestial species called the Ishim, root word ish meaning man, the men-like or the human-like angels. And so when you find accounts of them either biblically and other type of scripture references where sometimes they're even called men, right? I think in Daniel 9, Daniel 10, Daniel 11, I think even up to chapter 12, talks about the man Gabriel or the man Michael. Now, of course, we know these were celestial beings, but they took on this form. You look at, I want to say, Genesis chapter 19, I want to say, with the quote unquote two men that came with God to meet Abram, right? These were not men in the sense that you and I are men, but they.
We found a key lime pie sitting in that fridge, so if you still want that.
Of course I want it.
All right.
Of course I want
it.
it.
Box or?
No, I want it right now.
All right.
I want it right
Flaming
now.
Coffee? Did you find a flaming coffee?
Do your own spell,
Oh,
Justin.
so no one here can do the flaming coffee.
The authorized people aren't here. They don't authorize. They don't trust with
They're not
fire.
certified.
Yeah, he's not.
You gotta be certified.
You got to be
Oh
certified.
my God.
See, I went in the spirit. I'm gonna get my key lime pie. I called on the angel of key lime pie. I said, "Come on through."
Mm-hmm.
But this idea of the Ishim, okay, and there are some technicalities. So what Ishim do is they're multidimensional beings, right? And by their dominant, or I should say their default dimensions, obviously one higher than our own, so we can't see them with our physical senses, etc. So what they would do is they will condense themselves to the point where their level of density is registrable, is that what I'm looking for? It's perceivable. Okay. In the physical plane by your physical senses. You can actually touch them, you can smell them, you can see them, as if you have a dialogue. I like, for example, then they can also project themselves, so they can still be in their default dimension and project themselves into the earth plane, which we find out in the book of Tobit with Raphael. And a lot of people say, well, I had a guy talk about this on my live a couple of weeks ago. He was like, well, Tobias saw Raphael. And I said, no, he did not. Because if you read the passage, Raphael says to him, did you not notice that the whole time I was with you, I did not sleep, I did not eat, I did not drink? He said, what you saw was a vision. So the angel was not there in corporeal form. It projected itself in a way where he could perceive it through his senses, though it was not physically there.
You can even touch it.
Right. Well, we don't know. We don't know.
Okay, I thought you touched it.
We did. We don't know. I don't, from my recollection, I have to go back and read the story again.
You healed his eyes.
Right, but there was no
That's true.
actual.
That's true.
You see what I'm saying? So you have to look at
Right.
things like that.
You're right. I just assumed.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Because he caught fish and did enough stuff where you're like, oh, he's there. But
Right, and he said what you saw was a
you
vision.
know what? Maybe not.
So you have that, and the reason why I bring that up is because it is the Ishim that we find in Genesis chapter 6 that come down. We now call them a segment of them. We now call the fallen, or the fallen angels. They didn't really, well, you call them fallen. They left. That's what they were. They vacated. That's what Jude said. They left their former estate.
New shit.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The angels could manifest physical bodies, but they could usually only keep it for 2 to 3 days because the vibration was so strong for the lower vibration of physical bodies. That's plausible. I will have to say this: I can't speak to the length. Right, I don't
Keep it for as long as I have to.
Right, because I don't have any external records that can substantiate that. But that does make sense. Oftentimes when they appeared, sometimes it depends on what their purpose was, right? If their purpose was to get your attention, because something epic going on, then they will come in a much more, we call a glorified body. But, bright, it'll knock you down. You think about like Daniel, he was not bad. They'll knock you out just by them showing up.
Yeah.
Clearly, there's another thing I want to bring up about. Again, I don't like using the word angels, but celestial beings, is that this idea that they're little white chubby cherub babies with tiny wings and harps and on clouds, with a little puff of a cloud hiding their genitals, so something crazy like that. When that can't be the case, because almost every time they show up, they have the same salutation: "Fear not." So clearly, there's something about their appearance that ain't chubby and short and right.
It's kind of scary.
Right. So Nina's bringing this back up about these Ishim that come down and take the women. So there are a couple of different narratives, and if you really begin to study from um, the Hebrew translations, you if you just read it in English, you kind of get this idea that they the women were kind of married off, all right. But if you do deeper study, you find that in some cases they were just taken.
Yeah.
They were just
They
taken.
weren't married off.
Right, they were just taken. Now there are some accounts that say that they were married off.
Maybe
That
some of them
men would marry off their daughters or whatever in order to get certain knowledge and access from these celestial beings. And it's fascinating because I think that's up to Genesis chapter 5. Okay, you never hear of a war going on. People killed each other. Okay, that's nothing new. But as far as mass warfare, strategic slaughter, there was no human concept of that. After Genesis 6, all right, when they are taught, how to create weapons of war on a mass scale, poisons and so on and so forth. Now, let me say this. Because I have to put this caveat here. The information that the celestial beings brought was actually nothing new. Okay, Adam and the sons of Adam, the daughters of Adam, had that information because Raziel taught it to them. But it was passed down generation to generation, and if you were not a part of that direct line, then you didn't have access to that information. So what happened was when the celestials came, they given it to anybody who would qualify for it. Right. So that's what made this a big issue. People are like, well, you shouldn't do this because it's a demon science, and that's not true. It was here before they came to the earth. It was here in the time of Adam, but it was regulated. It had parameters. It was not just you putting, a bazooka in the hand of a child. We got so far off topic. Let me go back. We talk about how to call angels yet. Okay.
I was learning, so.
Let me go back here to because I'm trying to get to my key lime pass. I need to stop talking. So I'm gonna let you go ahead and pick up on working with angels. So we're talking about calling them in. What's the next step after calling them in?
Okay, so then it's going to be up to you. For example, you can meditate. You can ask them for meditation skills or techniques. You can ask them to help you with divination. You can ask them to help you with some sort of magic. Mm-hmm. I would start by just talking to my guardian angels first.
Now let's talk about that.
And then what you would do, and then we can talk about it, is ask them to introduce you to, say, an archangel when you're kind of used to them.
What is a guardian angel?
A guardian angel is an angel assigned to you. You usually have two, one on each shoulder, on each side, assigned to you before you get here. And they go out, they go with you throughout your life. And then if you need more, they can call in more for different periods. But there's, usually kind of one for protection and one for advice. That's just usually how it works. They're just, for you as you go through your life, basically. And they're actually good because what they do is sometimes you kind of forget about them. You're working with these big angels like Michael and Gabriel and all this, but then you're like, sometimes your guardian angel will clarify messages for you. Mm-hmm. And so they're actually good because they're right next to you, and that's what they're there for. The other ones, you kind of have to get their attention, and then, if you have a line open to Gabriel often enough, it's a lot easier, of course, to talk to them, right? Mm-hmm. Your guardian angels, you don't really have to get their attention. They're already there. You just have to start talking to them, and then everything becomes, your communication becomes clear a lot faster.
You want to refill that water?
Yes.
All right.
But that's how I would at the base is meditation, call them in, talk to them some. Then at the last, say when you're getting used to them after a few weeks, ask them to introduce you to your first archangel, something like that. I'm not even getting to using them with magic and crystals and all this other stuff. We don't even get into all of that, or herbs. And we don't have to get into doing that.
So,
Thank you.
you want me to fill that one up too for you?
Sure.
So
This one.
he got your
I got the
glass.
glass one.
Oh, okay.
So what was I going to say?
I think I said I'm not even getting into with magical stuff like herbs or whatever. You know, I'm just starting you at the base.
At the base, and man, it's like angelology is so dense. It's like, where is the base? It's like, where's the bottom of this thing?
Yeah.
How do you, it's so funny because it's like, I've been working with them for so long. I'm trying to figure out how I got started. Well, I know I was obviously introduced to them through biblical lore. As you know, I grew up in the church. That was my first introduction to them. But it never, and this thing that the church never really, well, I'll tell you to what point the church was helpful and then at what point they stopped being helpful. So the initial introduction, there was such thing as angels, kind of their lore, their history, a record of how they interacted with human beings. All that was great. Then as I began to mature, you begin to learn about them in a different level, in a different dimension, when it came to quote-unquote spiritual warfare. And now they're talking about you can call on angels, and what that was, they start talking about Psalms 91, he shall give his angels charge over you, Psalms 104, Hebrews chapter 5, Hebrews chapter 10, that they are ministering spirits to the heirs of salvation, etc. So you start learning those kinds of things. Then I learned that, there are things that angels did not know and could never know, right? I think that's in, I want to say Peter chapter 2, verse 19, things they long to look into. So, but then where they stopped, it's kind of like they kind of like teased me by saying that you could have an active relationship with angels, and they would talk about calling on angels, but it would be in this very surface way of, Lord, send your angels to help me, whatever the case may be. And so that was kind of it. I kind of felt like there was still like a carrot dangling in front of my head, not knowing that there was even a even more active way to work with them, right? In a very direct way, in a very demonstrative way. So that's when the research had to come into place, and then I learned there were whole, like you said, magical systems. I started learning about, of course, the working of Solomon, to learning about the greater key of Solomon, to looking at the Almadel, to looking at the Abramelian, these different grimoires and ceremonial magical texts that, the whole gamut is about registers of angels, who they are, what their names are, what they govern, what times of day. It was very, very precise. Gripper talks about it, the 3 books of occult philosophy, and I think the 4th book of occult philosophy as well. So it was this, these are talking about angelic influences. These are talking about summoning them to visible appearance. It just got very, very active.
And the paths are somewhat different sometimes. So you got to pick one. It's like it's like they tell you to do it in different ways. Sometimes they're similar, but then it's like different. So you
Right.
have to pick one and study it.
Danny asked, I think we actually talked about the first part a little early on, but he said, what's your view on Archangel Metatron and Angel Raziel in Kabbalistic lore?
Okay, well, I haven't studied them exactly in relation to Kabbalistic lore, but Raziel is, I'll just tell you the way I call him. He is the magician. He taught Adam magic, and he is the magician. And sometimes I call him as sort of help me open the way, and I also call him when I'm just kind of like, man, I need to manifest something to make it happen. We call on Archangel Raziel. Let's get this thing done. Money, Raziel, where is the money? Where is the secrets of, because he calls on the secret treasures of the universe. Raziel, where's my money?
That's another thing I want to talk about with angels. So such a potent ally, is because I don't think people conceptualize this, that before there were anything four-legged, two-legged, winged, finned, slithered, crawled on the planet, angels were there. And they watch and they observe. I think it's in Psalms it talks about how the morning stars sang for glory at the dawn of creation, that they watched everything come into being up to this point. And many of them actually foreseen what is yet. They kind of have insight on what is to come, meaning that anything you have need of, they know where it is. Because they saw when it was first put there.
Right.
So if it's your wife, if it's money you're trying to find, if it's that car key you can't put your hands on, they saw even what's buried under the seas, under the oceans. They've observed the current of human history since its dawn. And I think that's an incredible resource to have in your back pocket as you matriculate through life. We know that angels, and again, I use the term as a misnomer here. They are incredibly swift beings. We know that on the lowest rung, just an angel can move they can travel the circumference of the earth 8 times in a second. We know that an angel at the lowest rung of the celestial hierarchy has the strength of 185,000 men. We know they have, super intelligent. Literally, one of the names or one of the titles for celestial beings are called intelligences. There is this concept. There's this concept called intellectus. All right, and intellectus is a type of vastly specific form of omniscience. All right. We know that the Almighty is the only one that's truly omniscient, that knows all things, nothing outside of his knowledge to know. But angels have this, I've heard one person call it intellectus, which is this idea that, let's say, for example, dealing with Michael, okay? Michael is not omniscient, all right? But in all matters relating to war, he knows all things. Like in that very specified area, right? He's an intellectus, right? He's a specialist. He's an intellectual specialist in that department, and so that's kind of how the wisdom or the intelligence, rather, of angels work. And just to say here, because I know somebody's going to inbox anybody later. There are 27 different types of celestial species. You've got seraphim, you got cherubim, you got iralim, you got ophanim, you got kodashim, you've got hashkodashim, you've got the ishmaelim, you've got the benior, you've got the bene Elohim, you got the bene Elim, you got the malakim. There are 27 different celestial species. So when we talk about angels, it's really just a catch-22 for them. But I'll let you interject on that one. Just
good?
We're good.
Yeah. Right. And we'll get back to Michael in a minute, but for Metatron, he's more of an angel. He actually, for me, I call him down as a healer. I kind of go in and out with him. I don't always call him, but I call him. He's very good at manipulating like karma and manipulating high up. Like he's really for global meditation, but he's for the planet. But he's also good for he's a great teaching angel. He's great. He can universal knowledge. He's extremely powerful. He's also Keither. He's the highest
at the crown.
At the crown. That's Metatron. Some say he is the most powerful. He doesn't lead the angelic host, but some say he is the most powerful. I don't know. Of course, he's Enoch. He was Enoch first, and Metatron afterwards.
It's funny because I was reading, this was years, I think I read about this when I was like in middle school. You can say I've been in stuff for a long time. But I read where there was some confusion, not in heaven, but on earth, because a rabbi had kind of been wrapped up into that dimension of heaven. And he was confused because he saw 2 people sitting. And normally in the Hebrew mind, only one person sits in heaven, that's the Almighty. So when he saw a second person sitting, he was like, what is going on here? But the person he saw there was Metatron or Enoch. He was sitting because he was a scribe. He was recording everything that was happening in the heavens.
He is a scribe, yes. Am I talking loud enough?
Yeah, I think they can.
Okay.
Can y'all hear Justin? Let me check the chat. I know I can hear you. Maybe they can't. Maybe I need to turn my device.
Yes. So yeah, he's a scribe. That's what he does, and he gives you a lot of universal knowledge. And he's kind of a magician too. That's not exactly what, but he's like everything else but the word magician. It's pretty interesting because it's like all the stuff Braziel does, he kind of does too, but in more of a, I think a Metatron is more of the priestly type angel or the teaching type angel who's, very powerful or whatever else. So, that's kind of, very good for global karma, that kind of stuff, life transitions, that's kind of, he also protects babies. It's pretty interesting. He actually, I'm trying to remember I think he protects newborns and little children.
Let me ask you this question. What, in your opinion, I want to ask two questions, and they might end up both being the same. I want to say, as there's a lot of stuff out there on the internet. There's a lot of it that's, very new age theme, etc. Let me ask you this. What is one common misconception people have? Or how do I want to ask that? I want to ask the question of, what is one thing that you've seen propagated a lot online about angels that just simply is not true?
They're all love and light will never hurt you. Let me tell you something.
That's
They
not true?
Do not play.
Okay.
Now, it's strange, their balance in a situation. They will let things backfire on you if you don't listen to them. Or if you need Michael to handle a situation. If you're justified, boy, he'll handle it. Don't worry about that. Gabriel, the same thing. If you're trying to get a miracle and you need one, and you're balanced the right way, it's coming through. The one thing is, you just don't know exactly how and when. You just got to let them work. They are very much autonomous. You don't control everything that they do. Just let them do their thing. But that's the thing is, they're all love and light. They're always there. They can't hurt you. Well, that is absolutely not true. An angel will wreck shop. Y'all, I hear these people calling on these other folks, and there's nothing wrong with that. Man, listen, if you're really good with your angels, you're basically unstoppable. You forget that.
So,
And they won't hurt. What was the thing that somebody said? They'll never. What was it? She said they'll never hurt you, or they're always love and light beings. I'm like, no, no, not at all.
interesting.
I mean,
So, I want to look in the chat and see if we've missed any questions so far.
it's hard to explain that part to people. I may not have done a great job, but that.
I think they got the point here.
Okay. Yeah. 'Cause
I want to make sure that this is quite a broad topic, and we just kind of got on just without a thought. We just said, let's just do it. And actually, something that somebody said here that said, we have to remember that angels are not all warm and fuzzy. They will hand it to you. Also, there are different levels of summoning, from simple prayers to get their attention to full manifestation. Very, very, very true. Very, very true. So, we can hear. Oh yeah, we ain't trying to be seen. But as long as y'all can hear us, we all good. And to this person's point, there are different, or to say, varying levels of complex or more advanced rituals. So let me ask you this question: Why is it why is it preferable? Okay, or is it preferable to learn more advanced or more complex rituals if the ritual and me calling for them are going to yield the same result?
Angels.
Or do they yield the same result?
Well, what I would not be the best person to answer that. I actually had to work with my angels to come up with a system, for me to actually use them because I have a visual disability. So a lot of those grimoires, it was with either they weren't accessible or it's tough to read that kind of stuff with assistive technology, and so what I did was I did as much as I could do and study, and then I asked them to give me a system. So what you're going to do is if you work with them, you'll just you can have a system, and the angels they like formality. They like they will answer a prayer. Now don't get me wrong. And if you are lined up the right way and you need something, you get more than the guy that did the elaborate thing. But if you can, what I've noticed is they meet you halfway. So you really want to get as much of a system as you can. I would love to have a grimoire system. I'm actually going to work on getting to learn just one because I think it's just you should.
See, I think that this is what I've told people before, even about you, Justin. See, I am blessed. I'm very blessed and very grateful and very humbled to have you in our ranks and to have you as my student, because I'm just stubbornly convinced that you are going to innovate.
Is this okay?
We're great.
You want to go for that? Or?
Yes, sir.
Now I'm going to finish it.
Okay.
That you are going to innovate in these fields, in these systems, for people who are blind, have visual disabilities, etc. Because like you said, it wasn't just handed to you.
No.
You had to take what you could and make more out of it. And I think that you are going to leave a stamp, you're going to leave a legacy, dare I say, on these particular magical systems so that they become much more interactive for people who are like you. You see what I'm saying?
Because since I had to work with it. So what I found is, didn't mean to interrupt, sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
But I know, do you need an elaborate grimoire system? I would say you don't, but I would say that it helps to have a system. Whether you pick one of them or you come up with your own, you're going to actually have to put in some work no matter what. And what I found is the more work you put in, the more they'll give you, because they like formality, because they're in the rank and file system. So they like it when you raise your energy. They like it when you're getting the candles ready, or the herbs ready. They love that kind of stuff. They like it when you're talking to them like, yeah, we doing this, They like it when you could tell when they're giving you the ritual, and they're just kind of handing it to you in pieces as you're going about your day, or as you're in the actual. They love it because you're like. Then they say, no, get that herb, get this herb. Okay, y'all want that? Yeah, we want that. No, wait, no, we don't want that. No, get this. Okay, you want that? Yeah, we want that.
I think one of the key things about, like you said, formality or having a ritual structure is that, because I read something earlier, I won't go into it because I'm not feeling like being controversial tonight, but this human beings, because we are at our core spirits, we're naturally drawn to spiritual things. And if you give us enough time, we will eventually bang around long enough and find, the right door that opens this. Okay, that's just the truth. We have this innate magnetism, if you will, towards spiritual things. So if you give us enough time or whatever, we'll bang around long enough and find the right door to access the result that we want. But what formality does, it says, yes, you can take a sledgehammer and bang your way around in here, make all kind of noise, break stuff, knock over a couple of chairs and trip 4 and 5 times. Or we can give you a ritual that, because we know how the universe was constructed, we know what the doors and the back doors are. We know what the combination is to the combination lock.
You're trying to get done.
Exactly. And so that will yield a more efficient result. So that happens to a lot of people when they create their own quote unquote systems, or the general rituals or whatever. You are going to have a general result more than likely. Number two, it is probably not going to be repeatable, because you didn't go into it with with parameters, with definitude, with precision in your execution. It was and that's why I'm like, I don't mind it being intuitive, but even if you intuit something, there's a way to utilize your intuition to innovate a ritual.
That's right.
All right. So, and I had to learn this too. Like, I'm a very intuitive person. I'm very spirit led, and so what I had to learn, something I've taught y'all from jump: write things down, make a record of it. All right. When we look at the grimoires or the scriptures or whatever, it's because somebody thought enough of it to make a record of it, write it down.
That's right.
And here we are. We're much more benefited because there is a record of it. All right. So even if you're intuiting a ritual or a mode of action, document it.
Yep.
Right? And document much more than just, I feel led to do this or I feel led to do that. But what time of day was it? What day of the week was it? What was the moon? I mean, really get granular and, dare I say, scientific. Okay, with that, and that will help you innovate a ritual that you co-author, but also can produce demonstrative and repeatable results.
Yep. Yeah. You do want to try to keep up with it. I'm guilty at not writing as much down, but I also stay to where I kind of worked with that system enough to where I will go back. I will even research if I really want to do something, like I'll go back and look and research through books or look on the internet or meditate before I do it, because you don't want to just...
This is so powerful. I guess I am going to go ahead and talk about it, because
you don't want to just do it. You want to get it right.
Right. This is my channel. I talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about. If y'all don't like it, you can get the fuck off.
That's right.
So I read this person on social media that pretty much was like, basically, to hell with initiations. It's this age-old question of, would you rather be initiated by a spirit or initiated by a human being? And first of all, it's a false comparison. Number one, because everything that's ever happened, spirit has done through a human being. I mean, that's just that's spiritology 101.
You can't be initiated by a human.
So, right, okay, that's the first thing. But I bring that up to say, and this is something that Nina says, and she wrote this very nice. She said, general prayers will give you general results. Formal evocations will get you more specific results, at least in my experience. Petitioning angels is also pleasant. You become addicted. So what I was going to get at is, even like Justin said, what I think is a great template. He said that even if he gets something intuitively, he goes back to see if there's precedence for this. And this is what boggles me about this. I know I'm deviating a little bit. What boggles me about this is the only place we let that stuff fly, we're still good, is in spirituality. Because if you get hired on a new job, you don't just start doing what you want to do because you feel led, you feel intuitive. No, you'll but sit down and go through training. You get taught. You get handed a manual. You get exercises, team building exercises. There are metrics. There are points of measurement. So we can grade you. We can examine your proficiency. What is that for? Not to make you feel upset or whatever, but so we can produce efficiency in a product. So even if here's the other thing too, when you go in the spirit world just willy-nilly, you got to be aware. This is something nobody wants to talk about. See, the same people talk about, don't be initiated, don't get taught, don't get trained, do it on your own. They never talk about trickster spirits, because you can't talk about the two and be telling the truth. One of the reasons, and don't get me wrong, I understand why we come to this point. Because of the misuse of authority. People who are manipulative, they're deceptive, they're abusive, They want to exploit you. I get all of that. What I'm saying is, let us not be precocious and throw the baby out with the bathwater, because that's going to open up a whole other can of beans. See, what nobody tells you are the thousands, if not millions, of accounts of people who done got fucked up going into something without being initiated or without being taught and trained. How do I know? Because people come to me. They go to these people they see online, who don't have no kind of training, can't track no kind of lineage, that they haven't looked at this for more than maybe 3 days. And what happens, they go experimenting on your life.
Oh my God.
You see, what they do is, you can live with a problem. Yeah, they don't give you a little $100 ritual. I'm going to talk about it because I feel a little tipsy, so I can say what I want to say. And they're going on Google just like you are. Going any, mini, miny, mo, catch a toad by its toe for a ritual. And they're going to try it out on your situation. They're going to experiment on you. You see, they are still in the practicing stage. Now, don't get me wrong, we are all called spiritual practitioners, but there are different realms and dimensions of practice. There is you gotta understand, are you on the talented level? Are you on the gifted level? Are you on the skilled level? Are you on the masterful level? You see, people gotta be careful that people are gonna go around, they're gonna start experimenting on your life. This is not the time to experiment and try out new things on people's lives. Let me calm my, cause I feel my blood pressure rising.
Yeah,
But my point being is, and going back to what Justin said, that even if he gets something intuitively, he goes back and he checks the record. Okay. See, what people don't do is, and I'm gonna go here. Yeah, people say, well, Maya came to me in my dream last night. But that's wonderful. It's probably you indigestion from the pizza you ate last night, but ain't none of my business. So now you want to go set up a shrine to Maya tomorrow because she came to you in a dream last night.
She might have came to you in a dream to
first of all,
go do something else.
First of all, how do you know if that was who they said they were? You don't, and you can't. Because, see, you're only looking at this from the outside. See, what you're going to do is, you're going to say, well, she came to me she was a dark-skinned, older woman. She was pregnant. She came to me with white and blue. She had seashells. We were out at the beach. Mm-hmm. It must be Yamaya. Or it was Oshun, because I was by the river in my dream, and she had a honey pot on the side of her waist. Any Google search will show that up. You don't think trickster spirits know at least that much? They're going to flash at you white and yellow. It's like, oh, it must be Oshun. So the only way you can know is if you have someone who's legitimately initiated into a mystery. They can say, yeah, that's true, but that's off. That's not her. You see what I'm saying? The only way, it's like this. You can't take anybody somewhere you've not first been yourself. You can't. That's why I tell people what I know and what I don't know. And I'm very upfront about it. I don't know about that. Go somebody else who do. Because I don't want you being led astray. What Justin said was so powerful, which was even if he intuits something, he goes and he checks out his individual experience with the long record and history of what these spirits are known to do.
I mean, yeah, I'll look up things online about angels. I'll look up different spells. I look up all kinds of stuff, and then I read through some of the books. I just want to make sure, I'll go with meditation. I'll give myself a reading. I do a couple of things to make sure that what I've got is it checks out and it circles around.
But only in spirituality will we hire people to experiment on our lives. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can't even go. It's so crazy. Even let me leave that alone. Let me pull out of that because I'm about to go in a whole different direction. But what I'm going to say is, there are spirits who masquerade. Mm-hmm. They are tricksters. That's what they do. Some of them are more mischievous, and some of them are more malevolent. Mm-hmm. Right? Some of them is a joke. Some of them is for your destruction. Because they got nothing better to do. You see. As a matter of fact, there are spirits that can be sent to you. I know, because I know how to do it. That can be sent to you that will camouflage, they will replicate, they will they will shapeshift, if as it were, to a spirit that you will accept, so they can have access to your life and wreak havoc in it.
I can do it too. I know how to do it.
Wreak havoc in it. There are works. I know we're kind of getting a little bit off, but I'm gonna come back to the angels in a second. But this is a heavy topic. There are works where I can send an incubus or a succubi type spirit to you in your dreams, and you think it's that girl that you've been dying to sleep with for the past 10 years. You may even think it's your husband or whatever the case may be, and the minute you engage sexually with them, now I have a direct line to you. You see, that spirit comes back to me and says, hey, we've got the keys to her life. What you want to do about it? You see, now you wake up and you got cysts. Now you wake up and you can't have children. Now you wake up and you're impotent. Now you wake up and your money is funny and you can't get a hold of your job. Now you wake up and your children acting crazy. Because that spirit came to you in a way that looked like, appeared as something else. And because you did not have proper defenses and proper knowledge, you accepted it. You accepted it. You know, and I think that's something that is untold. You know, here's something funny. This is nothing new. My feelings I have about Doreen Virtue. There's nothing new. You can go on my Periscope, and I've said a great deal of things about Doreen Virtue. So, years ago, I happened to come across a video of her. I don't know if it's still on YouTube or not. I don't know if it was a leaked video or whatever, but she was doing like a training, right? Angel reading or whatever training. And this was what was so interesting to me. With all the love and light, you know, that she talked to. Of course, now she's I think she's Christian now. She's something now. She didn't change. Yeah. She goes from left to right so many times I can't even keep up. Anyway, during that juncture, she was doing this training with angels, right? And I think it was a 2-part training. I think one was mediumship training, one was angel reading training, or whatever the case may be. Now, she's one of the ones that was, the angels are all love and light, you know, they're not going to harm you, whatever. But you know what's so funny, Justin? She's talking about angels, and then she says, now, if you get an angel named Lucifer, how about screen? I got real close to the TV then. I said, what you going to say? But she said, if you get an angel called Lucifer, if you give an angel called Satanel or something like that, she said, we do not want messages from them. I said, well, no, wait a minute. I thought they all love and light. Well, hold up now. Wait a minute. If they all love and light, why does it? Which one is it? Right, you know. But even she knew there were certain spirits that will come masquerading under certain names. So actually, I think one person even said in the audience, something along the lines of, "Isn't that a light bearer?" And she said, "Yes, you know, it's a light bearer angel, whatever. But we don't want messages from that angel." It almost gives the idea that even though it could be nice, even though it could be great, we don't want to try it. We don't want to test it out. So I forgot my life, man. I done ranted for a minute.
Well, yeah, it was.
Let me go back. What were we talking? We were talking about angels, and that's how when a bull gets to rant.
So what happens? That I think we were talking about
rituals.
Spirits, rituals.
Right, there we go. All right. So you look them up online.
I look them up. I read books. I meditate. I'm pretty familiar with them now, and I stuck to just that pantheon. Angels, saints, animals, ancestors. I've stuck with just that. So, because I was aware of trickster spirits, I'm like, what if a former teacher told me, my first teacher told me that, you have an angel a spirit that can masquerade as an angel. Well, what do you do? Oh, well, in the name of Christ, who are you? Or you're in meditation, you chant their name.
And that's why
in Jesus' name I call Archangel to the heart of Archangel Michael, and then, so, well, I just felt that.
I feel that too. What's interesting is that,
and guess what? You will not get tricked at that point. Even
priests, when there's a certain spirit coming forth, they have divination. And what they're doing is they are, for lack of a better word, testing that spirit. I don't want to use the word testing, but they are uh, um, um, interviewing, inquiring of that spirit of certain things, even before that priest trusts the information that spirit is going to give. It first tests its legitimacy, because there are certain words, certain phrases, certain questions, certain answers that only the legitimate spirit could answer in the right way. That tricksters would mess up on, right? And I think it's good to know this for parameters. Now, I'll get back to angels. So, I work with angels in a variety of aspects, all right? And I'm still learning. I'm still learning. Man, it's been an hour already. I'm gonna get off in a second. But let's pause here and for the next 15 minutes, just take questions here. We kind of ranted. This is definitely gonna be a part two, or a series here. But if y'all have any specific questions y'all want to ask, or y'all want to get our commentary on, I'm starting to tell people I don't give answers. I just give commentary, because I could be wrong. You know, I'm gonna give my opinions on something.
That's what I was saying. This is what I do and how I work with them. Right? That's what I was saying.
Yeah, if y'all want to give questions or comments or commentary on angels, celestial beings, that kind of thing, go ahead and drop them in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. Feels good. I can interview you more often, Justin. I think the people like you.
Oh, that's good. Great practice.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you can't just them nowhere. Can't take them nowhere, because
I'm all about practice. You know that.
everywhere you take Justin, somebody know him. You know, I think I'm the celebrity. I move me out the way, child. People run over me to get to Justin. Justin, is that you?
Not me.
You know, people walking up with
Just those
with
two.
pads and pen. I'm getting ready to sign my name. They walk right past me.
They reach over you.
Right? Excuse me, sir. Can you take our picture together? What? Like, do you know who I am? No, not really, but we know who Justin is. You're a friend of Justin. That's who you are. You're Justin's friend.
I made sure I introduced you, though.
Y'all still okay?
We're good.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. I know I'm bothering y'all. Just trying to make sure y'all.
No,
You
you
all
fine.
right, man? You okay?
That guy came back here about 15 times now. But anyway, I guess anybody got no questions on here? Maybe they. Oh, here we go. All right. It said, I had a dream where a being told me I have their blessing, but I had no idea who they are. How do I find out who it was or what blessing I was given?
Divination. And if the being wouldn't say his name, well, that doesn't mean it was a bad one. Divination.
Yeah, I would.
Definitely divine that.
I think divination is. It cannot be understated as a tool. You just can't. Yeah.
You could ask, if you've worked with your spiritual guides and guardians, you could ask them who it was, and they will actually, you might be able to come up with answers. Like, you might get intuitive hints, or things might happen throughout the day to show you, or you might see signs of the thing that you dreamed of. Then you would ask, was it good and evil? You know, you got to wait a few days to let that kind of manifest, but then you'll get them to come up, you know, I saw a raven floating overhead. I saw, and it kind of, that's another way to get answers. I prefer divination to somebody else, because that's a little bit more to the point, but sometimes the other way works just fine. Then you could, if you're bold, and I would not recommend this,
But clearly you are, because you're about to tell us.
But you can do this if you have good dream protection. Ask the individual to come back and introduce themselves. Do not do this and tell anyone that I told you to.
But of course we are. Because next week they're gonna be calling me at the hospital saying, Doc, I told what Justin said, and now I need to be uncrossed, and you got an amulet for this, and you got any medicines in the back of it, and I'm gonna be calling Justin.
Oh, shit.
Right.
When I go to sleep, I call my 4 archangels around me to protect my dream. That's a trick you can use.
Right. Nita brings up a good point. She gives a lot of Golden Dawn and Rosicrucian references, but it's still valid. During the Rose Cross, middle pillar, the LBRP, which is Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram, will address the trickster spirits. It'll blast them from your sphere of influence, also using Kabbalistic names of God, vibrate the names or sing it. She's absolutely right. And I've said this before, me and the Golden Dawn, for the most part, don't get along. Because I think a lot of us a great deal of I'm just very ritualized, and a lot of it is very visualization, right?
Yeah.
But that latter part, vibrating the names of God, all right, is a very good one. All right, I do that, and it will definitely create a matrix around you that's defensive, and also that is also repulsive for trickster spirits.
Those prayer would work. We do that.
Here's a question for you, Justin. I think this is kind of going more into Gnostics. What are your thoughts on the angel Sophia?
That's a little bit too Gnostified for me right now.
Too Gnostified for you right now?
Wisdom, you mean? That's kind of the other. I haven't studied her that much. I mix her up with God's wife. I can't exactly remember how they go together. From what I understand, I don't know. I'd have to reread her again. It's one of those half familiar things. It's just not something I've delved that much into.
Hey, new subscriber, God bless you. Thanks for joining. Jump on in and pull up a seat. We're talking about angels and celestial beings.
I'm just going to be honest. I'm one of those people that if I don't know something, I'm just going to kind of give you the best answer I can and tell you I really don't know afterwards.
Right. I know that Sophia's venerated a great deal in the Gnostic angelological systems, and obviously the personification of wisdom, the divine feminine we think of, because Sophia means wisdom, right? And whether it's on the Kabbalistic tree of life as Chokmah, whether it is, I want to say it is Proverbs chapter 8, I, wisdom, was there with him in the beginning, laid the foundations there.
Yeah, that's it.
So, as the divine feminine, saying that pretty much she's in Proverbs chapter 8, we basically get a mirror image of Genesis 1. And so as wisdom is personified as saying, I was there with God in the beginning. And it was by me that he did X, Y, and Z. By his wisdom that he did X, Y, and Z. So I think in that regard, definitely personified as the divine and feminine.
Definitely that, yeah.
Personified by
Definitely that.
by the divine feminine. So that's what I would say there. From the Gnostic perspective, I can't give you much detail there. I would, do your own research.
Look at the Goddess Christians, that side.
Yeah, the Shekinah, right?
Shekinah, yeah.
A similar, which one of the, if you want to call it the Camino, or one of the aspects, or one of the paths, or one of the manifestations of the divine feminine, the Shekinah, right, or the Kabul, the presence, the glory, it's interesting because there's a verse that talks about how, I think it's in Corinthians, that the glory of the man is the woman. And so it's interesting because you think, once again, this divine feminine, the Shekinah glory, mirroring the divine masculine, or being that counterpart to the divine masculine. So it's all interesting to me. It's all quite interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Shekinah is the glory. Is the glory. All right, is there any other questions? I think we got like 5 more minutes and we're going to pull on out of here. We definitely got to do a part 2. Or a continuation, I should say. Continuation. They want me to do a webinar on angels, but I'm not doing that. I knew this was coming. I'm gonna throw this one in your direction, Justin. What is the best book on angels you recommend?
Oh, shit. Y'all listen here. I read a bunch. I would not recommend some of them. I learned something from every book I read, but I also cross-referenced. I use a book called Archangel's Apothecary. That's kind of my base when it comes to what to use. It's not the be-all, end-all. I just know enough stuff to use it as a base. Cassandra Easton has a good one, Angel Magic for Busy People. I think that's what it's called. Those two are the two I can think of right off that gave me a strong base. A lot of the other angel books, the thing about them is a lot of them are related to different systems. So you need to practice that system.
Very
To
true.
really use them, to train in that system. Since I didn't quite have the ability to practice in all of it, because it's difficult to do that, I had to come up with my own. So that's what I did. I would also look at a lot of the different websites, and I can't remember them. I mean, I just know how to find them. I don't know their names. I read and look at so many stuff. Y'all, I really have a hard time remembering. Doc will tell you, too. I've researched a lot of stuff.
I think Veggie won't put one of those actually good that's in there. I haven't got it open in a minute, but the Book of Angels by Gustav. That's one I can actually see the cover. I think it's like a greenish color. I think there's a book called The Magic of the Angels. That was one that was relatively okay. And I agree with Justin. When it comes to angelology, if you're looking at it from a magical standpoint, he's right. There isn't. I have not found like the definitive guide angels that from cover to cover, makes sense and is agreeable to me. It really is a lot of a piece of this. It's one of those things where, you eat the meat, you spit out the bone.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
I'm currently reading Nick Farrell's book, the Shem Grimoire. I agree with maybe the first 55 pages of it. Like I said, it's highly Golden Dawn-esque, right? So that kind of turns me off. But
if you happen to like one of those, schools, I would pick the angel books that are in those schools. For example, I wouldn't have a problem using certain parts of the Golden Dawn if it, worked. But it doesn't matter. Like, I would love to learn some of those rituals just for different adaptations if you wanted. But
I like here's my thing.
But I think there's what's the other guy's name? Crowley.
Aleister Crowley?
Yeah, Crowley. Is that his name? Crowley.
Mm-hmm.
And then was it the Rosicrucians somebody mentioned?
Mm-hmm.
If what I would do.
Oh yeah, Jacobus Sword, absolutely. His stuff is dense, but
Okay.
it's very, very good. Yeah, I'm glad you Thank you for bringing that up.
Thank
you for bringing that up, Nina.
Thank you. But
that book right there,
Yes, sir.
all of those 3 books of his, the Book of Divine Names, the Book of Amulets and Seals. I actually got the latter one. That's something to sit down and chew for a period of time.
that sounds good. Yeah,
What
I'm
I would
getting
say
excited.
is, when it comes to Golden Dawn, I like their information. I just don't agree with how they apply it. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, yeah.
Furthermore, certainly go to the source text. So Agrippa and his 3 books of occult philosophy, the 4th book
There
of
you
occult
go.
philosophy by Agrippa. You want to look at the Greater Key of Solomon. You want to look at the Ars Amadel. You want to look at the
Frater X,
Frater X.
whatever his name is. That's another one.
Frater X. What's that?
That's his name, Frater X.
On YouTube?
And I think he wrote some books too, though. I'm just trying to think of any of them.
Yeah, tell me who you're talking about.
I can't remember his Frater X. I think you told me about him.
I know Frater X on YouTube.
Yeah, I think
But
he has a book out.
I don't think he has a book out.
He doesn't?
No,
Okay.
and he doesn't talk about angels in
Oh.
any detailed response either.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry about that.
What was I saying? What was I saying?
Agrippa.
Yeah, so your standard source material of grimoires, right? Like I said, the Armadale, the Abramelian, the what am I thinking of? The Heptameron, all good.
Take that from me?
Yes.
All right, I'll take that spoon too.
Yes. The Armadale. What did I just say? The Heptameron. That's what I'm thinking of.
Heptameron.
So these source texts, this old school grimoire stuff, but by looking at them and putting them parallel. Oh, I know. There is an incredible website where this guy's cataloged all of this. Oh my God! This is the one I shared with y'all in class.
Dream Academy?
No.
But I know who you're talking about.
He's got all the angels listed, all their sigils, their seals, and all the source material.
I know what you're talking about.
I think the guy's like German or something, or his site's Russian. Oh my
Very
God!
strange name.
It is a strange because I can't even think of the URL. But there is a website out there that catalogs from beginning to end.
All the different schools.
Right. Jewish, Hebrew, Christian, Kabbalistic, Thelemite.
I can't remember his name because I could never pronounce it and Jaws never said it right.
I can see the website in my mind's eye. I just can't tell you what the URL is. Oh my God! I may. It's so critical. I may actually go back later and put that in the comments because it's a. You want to bookmark it.
Yeah, actually, it is worth looking at. I remember.
It's a good one.
It was the class after you had introduced the Dream Academy. It was the class after that.
Right. Wow, I'm trying to think of that name.
But those systems are
Is it
systems.
art? It's because he spelled it weird too. God. Wow.
I had trouble finding it because I couldn't spell his name right.
Cause he's like overseas. It's not an American website. It's written in English, but I guess the guy isn't a native English. Anyway, it's a great site. I will put it in the comments when I get some time to do that because it really is worth bookmarking.
But you want to get, maybe if you're interested in a certain system, you want to get those angelic books related to that system. I guess that would be one way I would tell you to do it. I would not advise doing it the way I've done it. I just would not put you through that. I just don't know how. But
Damon Bright. Oh no.
no, he's got good information, I guess. But
You think so?
Well, just to learn the 72 angels, I guess. I don't know. I don't like his. I personally do not think his rituals are that good. I just don't.
Yeah, the Damon Brand in particular, and the Gallery of Magic series by extension.
Ooh, GuideAngels.com.
I don't endorse them in my class. I'll put it like that. I don't endorse them in my class.
I would not. I would advise against them. Guide Angels. Remember that website?
God Angels. Is that the one that's like a brownish site? They just kind of list them.
Yeah, Guide Angels.
Yeah, that is right. Yeah, GuideAngels.com is a good one.
That's a good one.
Yes, it is.
That's a really good one.
Of course, somebody gonna ask about the 72 demons of King Saul, because you can't talk about angels talking about demons.
Lord.
Here we go. You know what? We're not doing this tonight.
No,
It's time to go. It's
demons
time to go.
tonight.
He should have been on an hour and 19 minutes
Listen,
ago.
man, listen.
See, next time you got to subscribe and come on
Y'all got-
earlier.
y'all
No, we're not
got-
talking about that tonight.
no.
We're not talking about it tonight. I didn't say what I want to say.
Demons is another class.
That's a child. That's a whole other semester.
That's another.
Okay, that's a whole other semester.
And
But
word of the wise, y'all, you do not need demons to do any. You can do anything with angels.
very
You
true.
can with demons.
Very true. That's another good one. Well, yeah, I'll put it out there too. There's a book called by Josephine McCarthy, I think is her name. Wrote the book The Exorcist Handbook.
Oh God, that would. Be
And
great.
here's what's so funny about that. I actually was not interested in the book because I thought the book was Catholic based, and I'm not I don't do exorcism in that regard. When I cracked it open, she was sure enough a magician. So, Balthazar, you love Balthazar. Balthazar Conjure, a good friend of mine. Dear Moore Balthazar out of the Netherlands, very good friend of mine. Y'all keep your eyes tuned. Y'all might see him on the channel every now and then. He's got
Oh, he's from the Netherlands.
yeah. All right, time for us to get off of here because we got to go. All right, y'all. This was a great topic. We will do this again sometime soon. In the meantime, in between time, we hold you all in the light of God that never fails, and the Almighty is that light. And God bless you all forever.
I guess that went pretty well.
Justin, you can't talk about them people yet. We haven't turned off the live. Stop cussing out the people.